My screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, Venky.
Yeah.
Super.
Okay. Um, in our daily day life, as a developer, we it is important to know the security risk. So here, we me and Ashwant presenting that web application vulnerabilities OS.
Hello.
So so whenever you can make an application, don't just focus on the performance, don't just focus on the stability of the application, but also the security. So the problem is, as a developer, we focus more on the application, right? So we just want to complete the work and we feel that security is not our concern. Of course, it's important, but we feel that security is not our concern. If you want to provide security from start to end, you have to make sure that your code is also secure, or basically you are writing secure code, right? So how to write secure code? First, you have to understand what are the risks we have to solve. So if you mitigate those risks, of course you are writing a secure code, right? So how will you get this list? What are the security list? So in the OS, who provides your security list in every few years? So uh, most of the people didn't know what is OS. So in anyone in the list, did you guys know the what is OS? Say
Yes.
just say yes or no.
Yes.
So what is OS, Vamsi? Say Vamsi.
OWASP. Yeah. So OWASP is an open source project where it abbreviates like open open source web application. It basically consists of the checklist. So whenever there is a web application, there would be a checklist rating from A1 to A10. So that would be the priority list. So all the things such as the uh, cross-site scripting or any kind of attacks like SQL injection or
Yeah,
all these things are categorized under the standard list. And as a developers, if we are aware of and if we consider these things, then it would be more secure because we would be using so many things like variables and also using variables, there is an attack that would be leading to inject codes, which is called as buffer overflows. So all
yeah,
these kind of attacks are grouped and listed in one place that is published by this OS community. Yeah.
yeah. What Vamsi is saying is all correct. OSP is a open web application security project, and it's a non-profit organization. It's founded in 2001, and with the goal of helping website owners and security experts protect web applications from cyber attacks. OS has 32,000 volunteers around the world and who perform security assessments and the research, and so they do a lot of research. They understand the security risk by looking at the application and find out the top 10 security risks and which you can mitigate. Of course, it's not just 10 vulnerabilities are there. It's thousands and hundreds of security risks are there, but this list uh, this list is a top 10. At least try to solve this first for all the websites. So these are the top 10 vulnerabilities that those are provided by the OWASP team. So coming to first one, cross-site scripting. So it is an attack in which an attacker injects malicious code from the client side, which can cause damage to the website. So uh, hackers are the attackers use the visitor's browser to attack your website. Once they gain access to your website, they can steal your sensitive information and all the store files and all the your information. So basically, the hacker injects the malicious JavaScript code mainly into your website. Whenever your site gets a visitor, that malicious code gets activated, and it is executed by the browser, allowing the hacker to steal your visitor personal information. So whatever use you on the application nowadays, it's happening because of the JavaScript, right, in the browser. So because your browser will read the JavaScript, it will show the content. It will the HTML elements like with the help of JavaScript, right? So uh, when the server is sending the JavaScript, but what if a attacker is sending a JavaScript into victim's machine? So, for example, I want to attack your machine, so that I will do I will maybe you are using Instagram, right? Everyone using Instagram. So there is a photo uploaded on your profile, or your post, or anything you are uploaded, and most of your friends are commenting on it, right? So even I will comment. I mean attacker will comment in your post or in your photo in the profile. So if the attacker will not commenting a normal text, so what if the attacker comment a script? So next time when you open that photo, you will be saying some comments there, right? So in one of those comments, there will be a script which will be done by the hackers or attackers. So that is the script which attacker have sent to you through the server. Of course, maybe it can be directly send you or the through the server. That is the attacker's choice. So this is most likely as cross-site scripting. So you guys understand about cross-site scripting, guys? I hope. So XSS attacks are generally invisible to the victims. So it is mainly focuses on the websites that update their content without refresh also. So to prevent these XSS attacks, what the developer needs to be done, so train and maintain awareness of the website, and don't trust any user inputs, and also sanitize HTML, use the HTML sanitizers, and also set the HTTP only flags, and most important thing is use a content security policy of the company, and also scan regularly of the website with the Vera code or Sonar Cloud or anything else. You can scan with the vulnerabilities through the Vera code, Sonar Cloud, or any tools you can use. So this is all about cross-site scripting. And next, broken access control. So what does that mean? It's like now if authentication and access restriction are not properly implemented, it's easy for attackers to take whatever they want. With broken access control flaws, unauthenticated or unauthorized users may have access to sensitive files and systems, or even user privilege settings. So what exactly means? Where so in every website you have different controls. Maybe for users we have admins, we have auditors, and then we have guest users. So that we do is every user will have a different permissions, right? So every user will have a different control on the application, and also like admin can do anything and user can do anything, right? But only with that particular account. So admin have admin controls, and user have user controls, and admin have admin permissions, and user have user permissions, and also guest users have guest users permissions. So if the attacker have an account on the attacker, or else any other users, you if I have an account on the Facebook, I can do anything with my account only. okay, but not with the others accounts. So if you messed up as a developer, you are not able to assign proper access to each or every role. So whenever you learn about security rules, those rules are very important, right? So every time every time you provide a feature, and you should know who will be able to access that feature. And also, if I say a user, I can actually control the user account or get the information about that account, but that should be only my account, not someone else's account, right? S- so most of the time we fire the query on the URL, the username and the user ID. What if my ID is 123 and I'm able to access someone else's ID by saying 1234 is mine? So you have to control that. As a developer, you have to control that. Uh, like admin user have admin permissions, and your guest user have guest user permissions. So you have to control that. So prevention of this broken access control is like locking down administrative accounts and also controls, and using multi-factor authentication. So basically what is meant by multi-factor authentication is like uh, where there is only we have username and password, right? So multi-factor authentication is like extra security questions, asking security questions, are also asking your thumbprint, or also a pin, or also a questions, are also a thumbprint, biometric. These are also comes under multi-factor authentication. So this mostly prevents the broken access control. So that's all about the broken access control. Hope you all understood. Next one is like sensitive data exposure. So the thing is, in, uh, the thing is on the internet, there are millions of bytes of data is getting transferred every milliseconds, right? So now this data is just a normal data. So it can be a sensitive data. Like your WhatsApp messages, you might be feeling your WhatsApp messages into an encryption, and they are not. You're basically sending all the sensitive information. It can be credit card details. It can maybe if you go to our website, and if you, let's say an Amazon, if you buy something, we have this tendency of storing the credit card information on Amazon when you're purchasing a product. So that next time, you just have to enter the CVV code and you're done. Like your credit card details are already stored on the Amazon website, so you just entered in the CVV and expired date, I think so. So if that sensitive information can steal by someone, like hackers will steal that sensitive information, so your all details are gone. Like yeah, you're all asking credit card will block. I may block my credit card. That type of thoughts you have, but your sensitive information is hacked by someone. That means you lost some data and you're gone. So if it's not encrypted, your data is not encrypted. The attacker was able to hold that credit card, and you have to make sure that whatever communication is happening on the server between the client and server, or maybe two different servers, it's has to be encrypted whenever you're using your details in the website, or every time it should be encrypted. If it's not encrypted, hacker or attacker may steal your sensitive information and steal your money or something like that. So because of most of the application don't do encryption for the other type of data, they focus only on username, password, only focus on those details and not the other details of our information. So even the personal information is important and you have to secure it. So as a developer, you have to encrypted encrypted all the data details of the users in our website. So this is most likely of sensitive data exposure risk. So to prevent that, already said that data is encrypted and tokenization, and also the proper key management and disabling the response catching can all help reduce the risk of sensitive data exposure. So this is all about sensitive data exposure. And uh, next one is insecure deserialization. So let's see what happens is, let's talk about JSON. You all know about JSON object, right? So JSON is a commonly used for format to send the data from a client to server, home, and server to client, or maybe to store it on the machine itself. And so let's see, you have an object now in the real world. When you talk about an object, let's say about this mobile phone. Everyone having mobile phone. So for example, the color of mobile phone is black and it has a height of 7 centimeters, and and having three cameras and screen, and a company name is Redmi or iPhone or else something. So these are all the details you are storing in a format like a JSON object, right? So if you actually want to store this in a machine, in a hard drive, you have to use a concept of serialization. So which you convert the JSON data into a byte code or the byte format, right? Like zeros and ones. Serialization means your all JSON object are converted into bytes format, like zeros and ones, and that is called serialization. So let's say you are sending a file to the server of serial data, which is zeros and ones on the server side, and server will try to convert that. So we will try to get the JSON format. First, you are having your object is like JSON object, and you are converted that into ones and zeros in the server, and will send that serialized object to the server, and server will convert that object into JSON object. So this is the process. So um, what if the attacker sending you, let's say I'm a malicious attacker and I'm sending a byte string, let's say ones and zeros to the server, and server deserializing it after doing deserialization. What if a JSON format has a command which will get executed, so that it is a insecure deserialization? So it sounds like injection, but this is different because here we are doing deserialization on the server. So for this we have to prevent that, do not accept the serialized objects from the untrusted sources. So that means not trusted sources and malicious websites, and do not use methods that only allow primitive data types. So this is all about insecure deserialization. And next one is most important, using components with known vulnerabilities. So no matter how secure your own code is, the attacker can exploit APIs, dependencies, and other third party components if they are not themselves secure. So the thing is, whatever server we are using on the server, it can be a purchase server, or it can be a database server, or it can be any other server. Most of it have some issues, some bugs, right? So, and if you're still using a server with known vulnerabilities, so the attacker will know that you are using this particular server and this particular version. And if all the things are knowing by the attacker, he's going to attack. If you are thinking how they will know, so it's all our fault. The version sometimes, in the application will face some errors, like your your y'all are aware that 503 service unavailable. So these are all some application face some errors, and then in the terror page, if you are not handling properly, it will reveal everything. um, whatever what the server name and what we are using, what version it is. And so make sure that you hide all the information, and that also comes in a sensitive information. That means we only gives the information to the attackers by revealing our some cause of issues in the website's errors. So uh, for this prevention, we need to static analysis a component by a software composition analysis, and we also help neutralize insecure components in our application. So this is all about using components with known vulnerabilities. Hope you all understood. The coming risks are explained by Ashwant. I'm taking over to Ashwant.
Yeah, thank you, Venkatratnam. Um, Coming to the next vulnerability that we are going to talk about is insufficient logging and monitoring. Um, yeah, as most of the servers are getting attacked in this tech world, like Google servers or Facebook servers or any other web applications, most of the time what we can face is regarding the attacks. But if we are owning a website, if an attack is happened, how are we going to get know about the attack, whether the attack is happened or not? Like this can be known by using the log files. In the log files, we need to be making sure that we log all the entries. If there is an attacker who is trying to attack the website, so to make sure and to check all the logs, we need to be first make sure that we provide the logs for f- logs in our website, so that we need to make sure we provide proper logs for attacks, or logs for the logins, successful logins or failure logins as well. So by this, making the logs clear, we will, if there is an, if you're having a website and if some attacker logs into that website and buys all the products with um, some other credentials or something, we will be knowing them earlier than it is reported by some other users, and we can make sure that we will be we will not be making it repeated or something. And this is something about insufficient logging and monitoring. And coming to the next one, that is XML external entities. This is something like similar to the cross-site scripting, but this is more dependent on the uh, XML language, that is the extensive markup language. This XEE, next slide. This XXE occurs when an application processes the XML input from untrusted sources without a proper validation. So this allows the attackers to read the sensitive files and perform some internal scanning, or even they can launch the denial of service attacks. For suppose if we have a web application which allows users to upload the XML files, if the application does not properly validate the XML files that we get them as an input, an attacker can upload a malicious XML file, which can contain the external entity references, which will be more convenient for the attacker to get access about the things in our website. For this vulnerability, we can practice, like, to solve this, we can disable the external entity processings in our XML parsers, so that we can validate and uh, cle- sanitize the XML, so that uh, the other malicious XML files won't get uploaded and get access access to our website. Like if for this example, if we use the parsers which have the external entity processing disabled by default, the XML processing, while XML processing is necessary, this while processing the XML, will be listing all the only the necessary entities and reject all the other unnecessary entities in the XML, so that by this procedure we can follow the we can solve this XML external entities. Coming to the next one, that is broken authentication. um, for suppose the in our web application which doesn't have a proper, if in the application we doesn't have a proper session management, like for suppose we if we take a Facebook application, so you have logged into a Facebook application in a net center and you have closed the tabs while leaving, and if someone else comes, they should not, if they are able to access that account of you in that Facebook, so there will be a threat to that website or for the user. So to solve this, this is what meant by broken authentication, and this vulnerability arises when the application's authentication mechanisms are poorly implemented, which will allow the attackers to possibly log in and get the credentials and gain access to all the things that can be done in our website. So to solve this, uh, we can practice implementing a strong authentication and session management session mechanism, so that if the user logs in and doesn't perform any activity in that session, we can simply log out the user based on the time. We can give the user based on the time, so that the user automatically logs off after a certain time, and if he comes back again, he need to enter the credentials, or he need to get himself authenticated and he can access along with that. This is regarding the broken authentication. And coming to the injection, um, um, actually, in as we all know that injection is like we will be injecting some sort of data or the required data into our databases. Um, this In this, the flaws occurs when an application doesn't properly validate or sanitize the input, something like that we talked according to the XML. If it doesn't properly validate the input, the attackers can inject the malicious code, which can get executed in the application. Like if there are if there is an application and when we are doing an SQL injection, the inputs while constructing a SQL queries, if an attacker can input a specifically crafted input that will give him an access to our database, and he can run queries and he can get the access through that. That will be the problem when the injection is not taken as a proper care. For this, we need to be sure of making sure of validating and sanitizing and use the parameterized queries inputs, and you need to be using the prepared statements or parameterized queries to ensure that the input we are getting from the user is treated as a data only. So if the data we are getting from the user is treated as a data only and not as a code, from this we can prevent the vulnerability of injection. Coming to the next one, that is security misconfiguration. Uh, this security misconfiguration happens when an application or a server is not securely configured. Like this can expose a sensitive information, and it can allow unauthorized access or provide a potential entry from an attacker. Like if a web server has directly listing enabled, and developer accidentally leaves some information in his website, like if the developer leaves us configuration files in the public directory, if there is an attacker, and if he gets the access of that configuration file, he can easily find and exploit that file, like to gain the access to the system. So for this security misconfiguration, we need to be regularly making sure of what are the things we are providing in our website, and we need to be reviewing and updating our application server and database configurations more regularly. Um, we need to be for this security misconfiguration. To solve this, we can also follow the least privileges giving to the user. Like if the user um, if the user is a U1 user, so he will be having only few permissions, and if he is an U2 user, he will be having only few restricted permissions for that. By following that, they will be getting only limited access to the files or the data in our website. And this is all about the remaining vulnerabilities that I have explained. But as this gives the basic idea of all the vulnerabilities, but we need to be in our application, we need to be very specific according to the security requirements, so that it will be very important to conduct the regular security assessments and stay updated with the security best practices. For this, if we follow these guidelines, and if we will be if we are able to take care of these vulnerabilities and all the secure practices provided by this OWASP in our website, we will be making sure that our website and the data of our users and our data will be in secure without any other vulnerabilities. That's it from my end. Any questions?
Thanks for the good insights. Do we expect any practical demos kind of things possible,
Like demos like
like attacks demonstrating any small or any?
okay, a
Yeah.
hacker attack our website and will prevent how to prevent that attack, that type of.
No, basically there are many types of, like, I want to add one thing. There might be a number of attacks, but all are grouped under this main sections itself.
Yes.
Like, yeah, so any attack like cross-site scripting or injection or security misconfiguration, do we have any demo like on like this is what the attack is or something like that? Can we expect that?
Okay.
So that it would be easily understood. Yeah.
Okay. For the next session, we will give a demo on like cross-site scripting attack, how it will use and how to know that vulnerability in our website and how to prevent that how to prevent that attack, and we'll give a demo for the next session about cross-site scripting attack.
Yeah, we can
No
plan that.
problem.
Yeah,
No problem.
we
Yeah.
can.
Good insights. Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Yes, no.
She is laughing.
No, I'm
I
not.
think he has some other questions.
Oh, this one, see. Okay.
Yeah.
No, no, I don't have any questions to ask.
So I would like to add one thing. This OS basically updates for every 4 years. So
Yeah,
like, yeah.
last
So
updated one is 2021.
21. So what they have done is like they have embedded the cross-site scripting also under injection section only. Earlier, the SQL injection or cross-site scripting, it used to be different, and they have given priority. Like the SQL injection used to be considered as higher priority risks, and the cross-site would be the lower. So, but now it's not like that. So under the updated 20, OS 2021 version, so the injection would, I think the injection is in the top position for the first priority severity level, and all these cross-site scripting, SQL injection, every code injection things are all embedded inside this injection section. So yeah, that's it.
Good, Vamsi.
Thank you.
So